everything that we buy over the counter originates from something natural. Aspirin originates from the willow bark tree. But if they just sold you the willow bark tree, can't do anything about it. They took the willow bark tree, they created a synthetic version, they called it Advil and aspirin, and then they sold it to you and made billions and billions and billions of dollars. So what am I saying here? The fact that everything that we think we need to buy from somebody else because they've created this magical thing originates from somewhere in nature, that means it's free. And by the way, if you get it from its original source, it may just work better.
Jason Shurka is a visionary entrepreneur, author, and executive producer on a mission to awaken human potential and elevate global consciousness. After overcoming a life-altering physical and spiritual crisis, he devoted his life to understanding the deeper laws of creation and human transformation. He's the founder of Unify D-World, bringing together conscious media, alternative healing, and frequency-based technologies to a global audience. A best-selling author and contributor to films like Sound of Freedom, Jason uses storytelling, education, and innovation to challenge conventional thinking and inspire people to reconnect with their innate power and purpose.
Yeah, you better. Cause you want this, I want this. Everybody in this world should have it. Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Yeah, you better. Take the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if you tried it. You're the artist, I'm the mess, and happily perform the new in your hands.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson. Today, I'm very excited. Look, we have been trying to get this podcast done for a minute, okay? A minute. And finally, our schedules have allowed us to sit together. Jason Shurka, welcome back on Unlimited.
Thank you. I'm happy that we're doing this in person finally. Usually we do it virtually. So this is definitely the right elevation to the next step.
Absolutely, Jason. And you know what? I had you on Unlimited probably, last year sometime. And I learned a lot from you on this episode. And specifically, I was so surprised because before you, I think I heard it in like passing a couple times, but that urine is good for you. And after our episode, after you talked about it, I was like, let me look into this. And so I went deep into a rabbit hole and discovered that everything that you said was true, Jason. Can you talk a little bit about how pee is good for you?
Yeah. So I'll start with a crazy statement because this is what it is, and then we'll work back.
Okay.
Urine is a vaccine. That's essentially what it is. That's what it's based on. Now people look and say, what are you talking about? And if you look at the history, you'll understand what I mean by that. So number one, what is a vaccine? A vaccine, medically speaking, is intended to take something called an antigen. So an antigen, when you're sick, the antigen is the thing that's making you sick. I'm just speaking in simple terms. They take the antigen in a lab, they heat it up and basically weaken it, and then they re-inject you with that antigen with the hope that you're gonna produce antibodies. That's called immunology, which is what vaccinations are actually based on. And I have no problem with that in theory. The problem comes from you're now putting in preservatives, you're putting in fetal tissue, you're putting in, aluminum and heavy metals and all these things. You're gonna start having problems. So why do I say urine is a vaccine? Because if a vaccine is to take the antigen, heat it up, weaken it, and re-inject it, well then let's ask ourselves what urine is.
God.
Urine, before it was pee, was blood. It's blood in your body that goes through your kidneys. Your kidneys are a filtration system. So when you hear the word filter, some people say, well, wait a second. If it's filtering it, that means it's filtering bad things. But that's not what's going on. So here's the mechanism. Blood goes through your kidneys filter it, not of what's bad necessarily, but what the body doesn't need.
Gotcha.
Before I elaborate on that, from the kidneys, filters, where does it end up? In your bladder. Your bladder is this sac in your body, but it's called a permeable sac. Permeable means stuff can go in and out from it.
Yeah.
Right? So if urine was all toxicity, you got to ask yourself, why would the bladder be a permeable sac? Meaning, why would the body at some point, sometimes, you ever had that feeling where you had to pee and then it goes away? It doesn't mean suddenly, you just don't have to pee. It means that there isn't as much liquid or urine in your bladder anymore because the body took it back in. Urine is primarily made up of water. The second largest ingredient is called urea. After that, it's broken down to enzymes, hormones, minerals, peptides, and so on and so forth. Peptides is a big market now. Well, let's take one. It's called urokinase. Urokinase is literally in your urine, and it's something that is used for heart attack patients. It's something that's used as a blood thinner. So what do? They take urine. When I say they, we're talking about the pharmaceutical industry through porta potty companies, one of them being Porta-Johns. And they literally extract the enzymes, the peptides, the hormones. They take that because it's free, because we think it's bad, so we just let it go for free. They put it back into a drug, and that's the only natural part of the drug that works. The rest of the drug is a synthetic version to be able to patent it, because you can't patent something that occurs naturally in nature. So in sum, big picture before we go into the details, urine is blood that was filtered through the kidneys and goes into your bladder. Your bladder can then choose to get rid of it, or if your body needs an enzyme or a hormone or more water or urea for whatever reason, it will then take it back in, and that's why you have that feeling of not having to pee at some point. Urine is not this toxic thing. As a matter of fact, it's the greatest thing to get rid of toxicity. And the reason why I'm saying it's a vaccine is because there is a certain amount of toxicity, but it's been heated up. It is weaker. And when you re-ingest it when you're sick, within hours, you will overcome that sickness. And I speak from experience, because whenever I'm feeling bad, you take a glass, you drink it. Sounds crazy, but that's a vaccine. Only instead of it going through an injection, which is already a problem, because your tonsils, the things that they tell you you don't need, those are your like immune receptors. What that means is everything that goes through any hole in your head needs to pass through your tonsils before it goes to your body. Your tonsils take a little piece of something, whether it's a foreign antigen or a foreign particle or whatever it may be, and then creates antibodies for it. That's the role of your tonsils. That's how they start out, and that's why it's so important in the body. So when you re-ingest urine, you're no longer bypassing the tonsils. Everything is going through the tonsils, and you're taking an antigen heated up at a weakened degree, and your body then produces the antibodies.
Holy, okay, so the tonsils, you're teaching me something new about tonsils. So tonsils, when things pass through the tonsils will take an enzyme out of that and basically tell your body what's happening, so your body's able to do what it needs to do with whatever chemical you're ingesting or whatever it is that you're ingesting?
Yeah, to simplify it in like us people terms, layperson terms, not a doctor, not a scientist, just a curious guy.
Yeah.
The tonsils, if I had to give you a visualization, touches everything before it goes into your body.
Yeah.
And the job of them is they almost take like a sample, okay, of that thing.
Yeah.
And if it is a foreign enemy, we'll create the antibody to counteract it. What did we do in the world today? We have $1 trillion industry called the pharmaceutical industry, and that's what these injections are built by and made by. And I mean, imagine this. Imagine everybody knew you can go to your urine and use it as a form of medicine. It is your own perfect medicine that was generated by the laboratory in your own body.
Yeah.
Well, pharmaceutical companies would go out of business, and they don't want that. So what did they do? They created a campaign, and this was done over the past 100 years, to get people to think that urine is toxic and it is toxic waste. Well, then explain one thing to me. When you get a jellyfish sting and I pee on it, that will get rid of the toxin faster than anything on the market, and it's something that comes out of you. Why?
Yeah.
Because urine is the best medicine out there when it comes to detoxifying the body. And jellyfish stings are the proof.
This is so crazy. And I know, Jason, because I did the research, and I found a lot of research backing this, although it was hard to find, because I think, that the pharmaceutical company does suppress the information because, of course, yes, they don't want a whole bunch of stuff out there, because then they would go out of business. So you said something about Porta-Johns being a company that the pharmaceutical companies have acquired or something, and then they take the waste of humans from porta potties and then put it into products, is what you're saying?
Okay, so let's go back for a second.
Okay.
The pharmaceutical companies need certain things to be able to include in their drugs.
Okay.
You cannot patent something that occurs naturally in nature. That's why they create drugs, and they have a patent on that drug. You go through clinical trials, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars spent just to get to the point of saying it's FDA approved. Well, to get to that point, you're not going to do something like that on an apple, because you can't patent the apple. It's naturally occurring in nature. So they need a piece of it to be natural, which is what actually works. The most important part for them is they need a piece to be synthesized, which is how they can patent it and have it exclusive for 20 years. Yeah. How do they get those natural parts? When it comes to urine, there are many ways to do this, but when it comes to urine specifically, there are 3 companies. One is an industry, 2 are companies. The industry is the pharmaceutical industry. The 2 companies are Porta-Johns and Enzymes of America. If you do research like you did, and I encourage everybody to do this research, you will see that Porta-Johns and Enzymes of America have a very mutual, synergistic relationship. Enzymes of America is a company that collects enzymes. What better way to do that than from urine? That's why you own Porta-Johns, a porta potty company. Now, you pay for the porta potty. They should be paying you for your urine. That's the trick that they did on us.
Yeah.
Where urine is a toxic waste product. We got to get rid of it. Buy the porta potty for events or construction sites or whatever it is. And now they have all this pee. And you paid to be able to have a place to be able to pee in.
Yeah.
Now, Porta-Johns then comes in Enzymes of America, which is a subsidiary company of one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And they also sell it to others. Enzymes of America then takes the urine from Porta-Johns, extracts the enzymes, urokinase as an example, and then puts it right back in the drugs. So what you are producing for free, they are selling back to you in literally a lower form because it's synthetic. It's not even real. It has all these chemicals built into it so they could have the patent. All of this is psychological programming. All of this is psychological warfare.
Yeah.
And they've done a great job in us being disgusted by the very thing that could help us.
Yeah, seriously, because I remember there were so many different comments on that clip. It went so viral. People were like, that's disgusting.
Because they did a good job with their campaign.
Yes, just like nicotine and all of the different things that they've put all these campaigns. I mean, you remember back in the day when like they were like, drugs are bad and this is your brain on drugs, and they would smash this plate. Like there's no plasticity in the brain, you know, thinking that like we're just stuck as stupid for the rest of our life if we do this one thing. Like it's wild. So what is the most wild, crazy thing that you have discovered that these systems have manipulated us to believe? Because the Porta-Johns and what you just said, that's a huge one. that's big. What else on the same like level have you discovered?
I would say in principle, the wildest thing that I've seen suppressed.
They do not want this conversation happening, so we're doing it live. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Artis. I want to personally invite you to something very different. An event called Uncensored with Elisabeth Carson. The banned conversation they don't want you to hear. This is not a typical health talk. This is a live, unfiltered conversation where we will speak openly about topics that are often avoided or shut down. Zero scripts, zero restrictions, just real information and real answers. If you've ever felt like you're not getting the full picture, this event is for you. We're hosting 3 events live in 3 different cities, beginning in Dallas, May 16th, then in Las Vegas, August 8th. Yes, it will be hot. And Miami, December 5th. In-person seating is extremely limited. We are only inviting 100 people per event, and those seats will sell out fast. If you cannot attend in person, don't worry though, because you can join us virtually from anywhere. And every attendee will receive exclusive perks. And if you join us in person, you'll also receive a special gift bag with exclusive items. It will only be seen by those who purchase a ticket and attend live. Get your tickets now at ElisabethUnlimited.com/uncensored. That's ElisabethUnlimited.com/uncensored. Join me and Elisabeth Carson for an unforgettable experience. I will see you at Uncensored.
Is actually a foundational principle that we miss. And it's the fact that everything that we buy over the counter originates from something natural.
Yeah.
Okay, so aspirin. Aspirin originates from the willow bark tree. But if they just sold you the willow bark tree, they can't do anything about it.
Yep.
So they took the willow bark tree, They created a synthetic version. They called it Advil and aspirin.
Yes.
And then they sold it to you and made billions and billions and billions of dollars. So what am I saying here? The fact that everything that we think we need to buy from somebody else because they've created this magical thing originates from somewhere in nature.
Yeah.
That means it's free.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you get it from its original source, it may just work better.
Yeah, I say that a lot, Jason. I mean, things that are like herbs and plants are usually one molecule away from something they sell you just so they can make money off of it. Ridiculous.
Yep.
Do you think that this is going to turn with all of this, information coming out about these higher ups and these celebrities and politicians about, the Epstein list? Do you think that this stuff is going to start changing, that pharma is going to start getting exposed and people are going to start like...
I don't think it matters if pharma is exposed. I think pharma's been exposed.
That's true.
Okay? So it doesn't matter
That's
if
true.
they're going to be exposed. It matters is if we are going to do something about it. So let's look at the world right now. And this is like one of the greatest lessons and most important lessons that I like teaching. We like looking at, the powers that be and the celebrities and the politicians as the bad guys. And I'm not saying they're good. They are bad. But who do you think empowers them? We do. The pharmaceutical industry, we can complain about them all we want.
Yes.
Are you still buying their products? If you are, you have no right to speak. Most of America, most of the world is especially America. So at the end of the day, what it comes down to for me is number one, taking responsibility and accountability for our own actions. They are not the problem. We are the problem. We can blame them all we want, but if they do something and we buy into it, then who's the stupid one? We are.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to make a difference. So I personally think that the time that will come where we will actually make a complete change in the world is when we are sick of it. And unfortunately, that time usually comes when a lot of tragedy has occurred.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sit here saying, although I'm kind of am saying, but it's unfortunate that a lot of people need to get hurt and die for us to learn a lesson. But that's what we've proved to ourselves.
Yeah.
If we're sitting here and complaining about an industry and yet we're still buying their products, then you don't deserve for that industry not to exist. We are the reason why they exist. How do they change? We change.
Yeah.
They are a reflection of us. At the end of the day, they have products that we need to buy. And if we choose not to buy them and we choose to buy something else, what do you think pharmaceutical industry is going to do?
Right.
They're going to change the products they sell.
Yeah.
That's what it comes
true.
down to.
No, you're so right. You're so right. And a lot of people are like, well, how do I fix things and how do I change these things? Stop participating in the systems that you don't find are working for you.
And you really kind of don't have to, because that's another campaign that they've run on us, right? It's just a pill away. It's like there's an app for that. There's a pill for that. That's a sick world to live in.
Yeah.
Or you need this pill because the whole alternative way is a bunch of nonsense. It's bullshit.
Right.
But is that true? Because the alternative way, what we call alternative, is actually the source that the pharmaceutical industry is based on.
Yeah.
It's all psychological warfare. That's all that's going on here. They have made us think that we need this pill in order to get to a certain outcome. Why do we believe that? Because who did they teach that? They didn't teach that to us. They taught that to the people we trust.
Yeah.
The people we trust are called doctors.
Yes.
But when you look at doctors, here's another rabbit hole if you want to go down one.
Tell me.
Doctors are not bad people,
Yeah.
but they are misled to a large degree. What do I mean by that? Let's go through the actual chronology of becoming a doctor and what happens and who's behind all the different facets of what that doctor goes through.
Yeah. Tell me. Let's go.
You're 18 years old, you're deciding to go to college, you want to go to med school. Well, before med school, you're still going to have to go through 4 years of college. Then you can go to med school,
Yes.
at least in America. Well, if you decide to do that, most people don't have money to go to college, so they go and get a loan.
Yep.
They are now 4 years after, about to start med school, 4 years in, they're 22 years old, let's say $100,000 in debt. Now they want to go to med school. What do they have to do? They have to get a loan.
Yeah.
Now they're in med school for about 7 years. By age 28, they become an MD, but still they're not making that much money by age 32 because they have to do their rotations and cycles and they're making like $40,000, $50,000 a year until they get to the $200,000, $300,000 level later in their life.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's going on. By age 28, they've become a doctor. They're also about $500,000 in debt. When they went to school and through school, who built the curriculum of the Board of Education when it comes to medical schools? And lo and behold, the same people that gave them the loan, the Rockefeller Foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation or the Rockefeller family is behind of many, many, many different banks.
Yeah.
They are also, through the Rockefeller Foundation, they are responsible for creating the medical curriculum. They are also responsible for the pharmaceutical industry because they own the largest shares in those companies. So let me show you the conflicts of interest. Let's say you're the doctor.
Yes.
You're going through school. You got a loan from the same people who gave you the curriculum of what you're going to learn, who then give you the drugs that you're going to give.
Yeah.
And then you receive literally this pushback, right? They literally give you money on every single time you give that injection or give that drug.
Yeah.
So they've created this system by enslaving you through debt, then forcing you to say this is not all of the facts, but this is what they mean. They've created their own narrative. And then here's something called the PDR. It's the Physician's Desk Reference. A new one comes out every single year. And the PDR is a very big book with very thin pages. It's like 5,000 pages. And it tells you, okay, what is the diagnosis? Here's the drug to give. So now by age 35, you're a doctor, you're making $200,000 a year, but you're also married, you also have kids, you also have insurance, you have all these expenses. God knows how much you're actually netting at the end of that year in terms of your salary after taxes, not to mention everything else that we spoke about.
Right.
Likely you are going to be in debt until age 50 or 55 on a good day. God. And by age 35, let's say you're smart and you're looking through all these things and you're realizing, wait a second, there are better ways to go about healing. If you speak about it, you can get your license pulled.
Right.
And if you get your license pulled, you're now in debt. You have no license. You got a big problem.
Yes.
This is the enslavement that I'm talking about. They've enslaved you through loans. They've taught you what to teach and told you what to teach. And then they incentivize you to push the drug.
Wow.
So not only do you have to be smart enough to understand that there's something wrong with this whole picture, but you have to be strong enough to say no to their incentives, which is all the money that they're going to give you by pushing those drugs. And if you pass all of those benchmarks, which are or obstacles, which are really hard ones to pass, only then will you get to a point of saying, I'm a doctor. I'm not making money now, but maybe I'll start my own practice. And here is the truth. And then you'll have to deal with them potentially killing you. So are you going to do that? Probably not.
It's crazy. You know what? I knew it was something like that, but I didn't know the exact details all the way through. We got it wrong, man. It's not the doctors. The doctors are only manipulated into the system. It's the freaking system. Oh my God. It's like that.
Not, that's why I'm saying there are a lot of people that are like against doctors. Like, can you blame them? Even if the doctor knows what they're doing is wrong, I want you to be in a situation where you're $500,000 in debt, only starting your life. You realize there's something wrong and you're going to put all that on the line for the truth. Right. I would hope so. But I can't expect you to do that because you're putting the security of your family behind the truth.
Yeah.
And most people won't do that. So my point is, I have compassion for doctors.
Yeah.
Most of them are very good people.
Yeah.
They spent years and years and years living, in nothing, making no money, going into debt to do what they felt was the right thing to do, only to find out that the system is broken.
Yeah.
I can't expect that same person to come and say the system's broken and put everything on the line after everything they went through. Although those that do, I have utmost respect for.
Right.
But that's the reason why there's so few. Because the system is built in a way where it enslaves them and puts them in such a position where it makes it nearly impossible to have the courage to actually go and do that.
Yeah.
So I love doctors.
Yes.
My best friends are doctors. And they're the types of doctors that me and you would like, but they're in medical school. They're just in medical school with the bigger picture understanding of what's actually going on here.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think it's a system that's broken.
Yes.
It was designed this way. And the only thing that's going to give the doctors the courage to stand up is if a new system is somehow built that will give them a place to go to where when they risk it all on this side, they have somewhere to go to on this side.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just so unfair because really putting myself into the shoes of a doctor, of a brand new 18-year-old, like my dream is to be a doctor, to save lives and do good in this world, and then end up at almost 30 years old with a family, new wife or husband, new baby, and now I'm realizing everything's broken, but I can't tell the truth because if I tell the truth, now my baby's going to die.
Yep.
Now my wife or husband is going to die. It's just, oh my God, it's not fair.
It's not fair, but it is the system. And ultimately, and I want to make this really clear, I'm not against Western medicine. I'm just against the proportions that we use it in.
Yeah.
There are situations where Western medicine will save your life in a way that the natural thing, you're already too far gone.
Yep.
Okay?
Yes.
It happened to me. I had a staph infection in my leg right here. Almost had to get my leg amputated. It almost killed me. I was about 8 hours away from an amputation, 24 hours away from death. I was 19 years old.
Oh my God.
It was a horrible situation. I had to get intravenous antibiotics for the first time in my life. I never had something like that.
Yeah.
At age 19 for 10 days.
Damn.
Okay. Heavy drugs, lost 25% of my body weight in 10 days. Couldn't walk, couldn't do a lot of things. But in that situation, if I said, let me go to the willow bark tree, it's not going to work there. You're going to die.
Yeah.
So there's a time and place to take extreme measures. The problem is what is truly extreme measures we just call normal. Like antibiotics is an extreme measure.
Yeah.
It's in the name. It's
Yes.
anti-life.
Yes.
Okay. You are killing yourself every time you take it.
Yes.
But there's a time and place to take it. If you're already on the verge of you see where you're going and you're going to die, do everything. Do chemo, do radiation, do everything.
Yeah.
If that's the absolute last resort.
Right.
The problem is we do it as the first resort
Yes.
and wonder why we're so sick.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think Western medicine has a place in the world. I think the proportion between Western and Eastern, or alternative and conventional, even though alternative is
Older
like,
and ancient, more ancient.
it's the base of absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Should it be called alternative? But it is.
Yeah.
If we were living our lives through preventative measures, not by killing something when it arises, but creating an environment in such a way in our bodies where the cancer cannot arise in the first place, we would never need to get to the chemo.
Exactly.
But because we live in a world where we eat garbage, we drink garbage, we smoke garbage, we do all these things, then Western medicine plays a role. If we lived the lives that we were supposed to live, although we'll never get back to a life of true nature because we wear plastic on our feet.
Yes.
And we sleep on fake mattresses.
Yes.
That's not normal. And we live in dirty radiation with Wi-Fi on all the time. I'm not saying change that. Like, that's how we live. Look, we're doing a podcast now. There are lights, there are cameras, there's Wi-Fi.
Yes.
We got to use that, right? That's the world that we're in. So I'm not saying let's go be cavemen. What I'm saying is understand the difference between Western and Eastern, and don't go to the antibiotics or the chemo first.
Yes.
Leave that as a last resort if you have no other option. And if you need to take antibiotics, like for example, I got a surgery on my bottom teeth here. There was an infection going on in my jaw. The doctor said, take antibiotics just in case. I will take antibiotics in that situation because God forbid, if that spreads and hits my brain, the risk is I die.
Yes.
So there are times and places to do it, but
Yes.
we are completely out of whack. We're out of proportion.
Yeah.
And we will not need to rely as much on the Western if we do the preventative measures first
Yes.
instead of the alleviating measures second.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, because you're so right. I mean, if I get stabbed, I'm going to the hospital.
And you need them.
To get sewn back up. I'm not going to go to the willow bark tree to see if they can fix the stab wound. So no, you're so right. It is very, very off balance. I just tell people, Jason, to know your body more than anyone else knows your body.
Yeah.
Know what works for you and know when it's time to do whatever, take whatever measures it is. If you need to take antibiotics, yes, take antibiotics, but make sure after that round of antibiotics that you're doing what you need to do for your body to give your body back what it needs to carry on in a healthy way,
Yes.
But they don't teach us this. They just say, hey, take these antibiotics for everything because it'll fix everything. All these little tiny infections that you don't need antibiotics for.
It doesn't even make sense. And it's like, you wouldn't have got the infection if you were properly
Thank you.
dosed with vitamin D and
Yes.
vitamin C. You wouldn't have gotten there in the first place. So again, I think the other side of the problem, we spoke about the mechanism with the doctors and how it's all built.
Yeah.
Look at the other side. The other side is the person that's not going to school to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Let's look at it from their perspective. And it kind of makes sense. The average American is divorced. The average American has kids.
Yeah.
The average American has multiple jobs. So you're telling me that the average American is going to go and research? No. They're going to go to their doctor and they're going to listen to what their doctor says.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them for it because the doctor went to school for it, went into debt for it, makes money for it, and is so-called the expert. And yet if the doctor is corrupted in any way or knows the truth and doesn't want to speak about it because he or she can risk their license by doing it, then the person on the other side is now misled.
Yeah.
Because they are now taken captive and hostage by that system on the other side.
Yes.
And you can't blame them. Because the average person in this country and generally around the world, but definitely in this country, multiple jobs, just needs to put food on the table, doesn't have time to look into all this stuff. I was going to say nonsense. It's not nonsense, but doesn't have time to look at all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So they go to the expert. And if the expert was taught wrong or is misleading them, whether they're a good person or a bad person, we're the ones that need to pay the price.
Yeah. Ugh, it's just all completely broken. You know, there's a place down the street from here, actually, that I worked closely with, and they have a hardtop hyperbaric oxygen chamber there. And they were telling me that this woman was coming in, and she had stage 4 cancer and a tumor. And all of a sudden, after all these weeks of using the hyperbaric oxygen, she doesn't have stage 4 cancer anymore. So what's up with that?
Well, I'll tell you exactly how it works. When it comes to measuring your own health, there are 3 things that you can look at and 3 fundamental principles that you can work on if you want to truly live a healthy life as opposed to a life filled with disease and ailments.
Yes.
The first one is cellular millivoltage. I'll explain that in a second. The second one is pH, the hydrogen potential in your body. And the third one is oxygen levels. So let's start with the first one. And by the way, all these 3 things, you don't need to work on 3 of them simultaneously, because if you work on one, they are all reflections of each other. When one changes, all of them change for the better or the worse.
Yes.
Cellular millivoltage. We are made up of many, many cells. And in every single cell in our bodies, we have something called mitochondria.
Yes.
Mitochondria, as you know, is the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria generates electricity and energy in the body.
Yes.
Just a little fun fact. Do you have any idea how many voltage or how much voltage you have in your body if you were to combine every single cell, how much volts you have running through your body at any given time?
Oh my God, it's probably just in the almost trillions, probably. I mean,
2 trillion.
yeah.
2 trillion volts
Yeah.
of electricity when you combine all the voltage in every one of your cells.
Yeah.
That's enough. That's like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is.
you're a walking nuclear bomb. And we have the audacity to say, oh, poor little old me. I can't
know.
get through this. You're a nuke.
I know.
Of course you can get through it.
Yeah.
You have everything going for you, the amount of power you have in your body. But anyways, your cells work on voltage.
Yes.
And very simplistically speaking, without going into science and data and numbers, we'll just keep it simple. When you have low cellular voltage, you get sick. When you have high cellular voltage, you are healthy.
Yes.
So the goal is, how do I increase my cellular millivoltage to increase the energy and electricity in my body to experience ease as opposed to dis-ease?
Yes.
All right, so that's
Yes.
one. The second one is pH, the hydrogen potential in your body and your blood. Average is about 7.2 to 7.4. We use 7 as like a neutral way. When you go below 7, you are acidic. When you go above 7, you are alkaline. It is not good to be alkaline because you will die, just like it is not good to be acidic because you will die.
Yes.
The reason why alkaline foods and alkaline water is so popular is because generally, most people are acidic. And when you want to rebalance the acidity in the body, you use the other side of the spectrum, not because you want to get there, because you want to rebalance to your optimal pH between 7.2 and 7.4. Any cancer patient that you measure their pH on, guaranteed, I've tried this myself on many of them. Unfortunately, I've known many of them because of my line of work. Every single one of them will have an acidic pH in their body. And when you shift the acidity to be more neutral or optimal, that is creating an environment where cancer cannot exist. But because we don't go based on that truth, doctors say, let's just radiate it. Let's just do chemo. Well, what do you think happens when you radiate the body and do chemotherapy? You make it more acidic.
Yeah.
The cancer might have disappeared, but now you have 10 other problems.
Right.
Right? The third one is oxygen. This goes back to hyperbaric. There's a doctor, no longer alive, about 100 and something years ago, won the Nobel Prize for proving the following. When you his name is Dr. Otto Warburg, O-T-T-O Warburg. When you deprive a single cell of 35% of its oxygen for 48 hours, that cell becomes cancerous. Again, when you deprive a single cell of 35% of its oxygen for 48 hours, that cell becomes cancerous. What that means in English, that's what he won the Nobel Prize for proving that. What that means in English, in our terms, is when you are deprived of oxygen in the body, your SpO2 levels are low, right? When you have that oximeter on your finger, it measures oxygen levels. When you have oxygen deficiency, that's an environment for cancer to thrive. When you have oxygen sufficiency or a surplus, that's an environment for pure health.
Yeah.
Cancer cannot live there. So high oxygen means optimal pH
Yeah.
and charged cells. Optimal pH means high oxygen and charged cells. And charged cells means optimal pH and oxygen surplus. So the woman you were talking about went into a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
That is a lot of oxygen in a short period of time. Now, by the way, too much oxygen can also kill you because then you have something called ozone, O3 instead of O2. You have oxygen, then you have O2, and you have O3. Well, O3, if you have too much of it, will do the same thing that antibiotics does. It will kill you. So there's a balance everywhere. But the reason why the oxygen therapy and the hyperbaric chamber works so well is because it is shifting the environment that the body is operating on. Instead of attacking the cancer, it's taking a different approach. It's saying, let's create an environment where the cancer will want to run away from.
Yeah.
And that's why she overcame that stage 4 cancer. It's not going to happen all the time. Everybody's different. Everybody's dynamic. But for the most part, I can guarantee you that with that hyperbaric chamber, she's no longer acidic in her pH, and she has a higher charge in her cells.
Yeah.
So we make healing so complex.
Yes.
And I think that's by design because the pharmaceutical industry wants you to think that you need them. And the fact is, bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't need them.
Right.
You need your own knowledge.
Yes.
You can rely on them if you have no other choice. But health is much simpler than we've been taught.
Yeah.
Have enough oxygen, have an optimal pH, and charge your cells. You cannot get sick.
Yeah.
And that's how it all boils down.
That's so true because I mean, other than the chemical warfare that they released all over the planet, I mean, I haven't been sick in the last 20 years. I mean, literally, like nothing can really penetrate that because I really feel like once you get to a frequency of vibration and you start vibrating at a high vibe, that nothing can penetrate. Like the disease, you know, the little bacterial cells, they can't even like get into your aura because your frequency is so high. I think like along the same lines, getting a little esoteric, you know what I'm saying? But
Well, I mean, call it esoteric. I think it's science.
It
if
is,
you
though.
boil it down,
Yes.
everything works on frequencies.
yes.
Everything boils down to energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yep.
Your emotions are a frequency, and that's why a depressed person will get sicker more.
True.
Because it's a frequency that allows for more imbalance. Because
Yes.
depression, literally by what it is,
Yes.
if you were to take an EKG and connect it to your brain while you were happy, and then did the same thing while you were sad and all depressed,
Yes.
you would see the same thing expressed differently. The same thing is called energy. They express differently as the happy would be a beautiful wave that's coherent.
Yes.
And the depression would be all over the place.
Yep.
Well, energetically, when you're all over the place like that, it's much easier for you to get sick because that's called an imbalance.
Yes.
So I think the benefit that I have is that I'm not a doctor and a scientist. And that I never had the chance of being brainwashed by the Rockefeller's curriculum.
Yes.
So we just look at something for what it is. And maybe sometimes I oversimplify things, but sometimes things are really simple.
Yeah.
Now I'm speaking from personal experience because I've dealt with my own things. I've gone through my own journeys, and I've dealt with a lot of sick individuals that either came to me or individuals in my family of like, what do we do here?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Elisabeth, you change one thing in your food, you change the cleanliness of your water,
Yeah.
just those things
Yeah.
will change the outcome of health in your body. And I say
Yes.
just those things like they're a small thing. It's who you are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what you're built on. It's your foundation.
Exactly. So ancient practices back in the day, you know, we used to do things naturally, like fast and different, you know, different things that we've really lost our way from and gotten away from. But I mean, they used to regenerate back in the day, you know, we've just, I don't know, somehow forgotten these different ways of doing so. I mean, I know for a fact that if you can't go, you know, longer than 12 hours without food, then your body probably is not in the best condition. Because back in the day, there was, you know, we used to starve. We used to go long periods of time without making the kill to be able to bring back the food. So our bodies we're used to that way of cleaning out old cellular debris. And then it was normal, right? But nowadays, people can't even go 12 hours without food, without freaking out.
Well, let's look at evolution. When I say evolution, I'm talking about the real evolution, not we came from a whale.
Yeah.
Right? So evolution from like within a species.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, right, thousands of years ago,
Yeah.
because of what you just said, we were always trained to like you find the next sugar or the next carb, or because that's what keeps us alive. Today, we still have that in our primitive side, but we're no longer living primitively.
Yes.
So now we're just eating all the carbs and the sugar and all that because there's like a piece of us that's like, oh, we need it.
Yeah.
And then you become addicted to it. And then you got a problem.
Yes.
Now, ultimately, I think that's by design. I think it's very obvious that it's by design because food is no longer necessity. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
And when food becomes entertainment, you become fat.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, I'll tell you, I enjoy food as entertainment sometimes, many times, but I do my best to counteract that. So sometimes, for example, I think 4 or 5 months ago, I did 30 days no food. Let's just cut it all out, right? Mainly water, salt, a little bit of juice if I'm moving a lot, and I really need some sort of spike. And it was the best time of my life. I was clearer than I've ever been. My eyes were clear. My skin was clear. Like everything was clear.
Yeah.
That was the second time I've ever done that in my life. The first time was about 8 years ago. That is something that everybody needs to do at some point in their life. And maybe not 30 days, but you can go 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go 5 days.
Yeah.
After you go 3 days, you're not going to be hungry. It's the 3 days that make it really hard.
Yeah.
So I think we've become weak in the world that we live in today. We're strong in terms of our physical, materialistic objects, but we're weak in terms of our mental strength.
Yes.
And especially in the generation that we're seeing come to the world right now, I think we're weaker than we've ever been. And, it brings me back to, I think it was the crown prince or the whatever it is in Dubai. Not the prince, but I guess the king, whatever it is. Forgot his name. But he said, my father, is what his words, I'm paraphrasing. My father rode a camel. I drive a Maybach. My son drives a Rolls Royce. But his son is going to drive a camel. Ride a camel. Why? Because hard times make strong people, and easy times make weak people. And now suddenly we're starting to see times are getting a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Step by step, it's happening slowly,
Yes.
but it's getting harder because we're getting weaker.
Yes.
And we're getting weaker because of our food. We're getting weaker because of our water. We're getting weaker because of our thoughts. I mean, you go to school and everybody's like, you can't use that word. It triggers me. Like, shut the hell up. Do me a favor. Like, enough with this nonsense. I don't know what the hell you are, but you're like subhuman if that's how you think, this is my safe space. Call me they, them. How about you call yourself whatever you want? And I'm going to do whatever I want. What world? It's insane.
It is.
Do you, if that's how you feel, God bless you, but you're not going to impose it on me.
Yes.
And when you have teachers that are going through their own traumas, whatever that may be,
Yeah.
and then imposing those traumas onto students, I know people that have kids that are in school. One of my friends came and she said, my daughter decided that she's pansexual.
Huh?
I'm like, number one, I don't know what that means, and I don't care to know what that means. But how old's your daughter? She said 12. Oh. I'm like, so how did she decide that she was pansexual? Because that's what her teacher is. So this is like abuse. So they're creating environments where the teacher makes the children feel weird if they're not like them.
Oh, no.
Now you get the other children following suit, and now it's cool to go and want to have a sex change when you're 13. You want to have a sex change? Do it when you're 20.
Yeah.
Okay. God bless.
28.
Do whatever.
28.
Do whatever you want. Later.
Yeah.
Not when you're 12.
No, your brain is not
That
developed.
should be illegal. There's a problem.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
people hear me say that and they're like, "Oh, are you transphobic?" No, I just like protecting kids.
Yes.
Okay, and make sure that they're taken care of. And if that's what they decide to do later on,
Yes.
I'm all for it. That's their decision. That's not the world that we're living in anymore. So now you have weak kids. You have weak adults.
Yeah.
You have weak men.
Yeah.
You have weaker women.
Yes.
Women want to be men. Men aren't men
women.
anymore. They're a bunch of little girls. I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
Right? And now women want to take there are roles in life for a reason. Not in a masculine way or patriarchal way or whatever the word is.
Yeah.
A man has an energy and a woman has
Yes.
a woman has an energy. And that's why when a man and a woman have sex, one enters the other.
Yeah.
Because the energy of a woman,
Yeah.
feminine, when you have two plugs, you say, is it the male plug or the
Right.
female plug?
Right.
Doesn't make a woman, as a matter of fact, I think the women are higher spiritually. The woman energy, the feminine energy is a receiving energy.
Yeah.
It's an elevating energy.
Yes.
The masculine energy is a providing energy. It's a security energy. It's a giving energy.
Yes.
And when you start messing that up, you're going to have a lot of problems in the world.
Yep.
So now men say, I'm my own independent woman. Be independent. Do what you want, but you're not a man.
Yeah.
And the man's not a woman.
Right.
And we have to honor the energy on each side to work in union with the masculine and the feminine.
Yes.
Because when you do that, instead of trying to be a man or trying to be a woman,
Right.
you have this union. And by the way, my parents were a perfect example. The man was the man and the woman was the woman, but my mom's a strong ass woman.
Yeah.
But she let my father be the man.
Right. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And really, if you want to know the truth, she was leading. That's the trick that most women don't get.
Yes.
A smart woman shouldn't lead in the forefront.
No.
She leads from behind.
Yes.
She's the puppet master of the man. And I'm the man, and I'm saying it. A smart woman knows how to get the man to do what she wants, what needs to be done, not
Right.
from a place of negative manipulation, but because the woman is the stronger force. She becomes the weaker force when she tries to prove that she's the stronger force. You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't know how we got onto that, but we're living in a weak world today,
Seriously.
and we got to change it.
Yes.
But on the flip side, it's much easier to succeed in this world because everybody's beta.
Yeah.
It's not hard to be alpha anymore because nobody's alpha.
I know.
You know, you don't have that many. It would have been much harder to be alpha like 100 years ago when everybody's like in war and like,
Yeah.
going crazy. Today, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying may sound controversial, but I don't really give a shit. It's true.
Yeah. No,
Right?
I agree in a lot of the different ways that I agree totally. I think that these energies have gotten, and it's not toxic masculinity or toxic femininity, because masculinity and femininity is not toxic. It is the being, the human, that is toxic, making either or toxic within them. But see, a man and a woman can never do what a man can do, and a man can never do what a woman can do.
It's
Our
two different
brains
things.
Our hardware is shaped differently.
Yes.
We are different in all the ways, but when we can come together and be strong within whatever, the woman or the man energy that we are, it's a perfect freaking union.
And I want to make it clear. Some people hear the word roles and they're like, "Oh, so you think the woman should cook?" No, that's not what I think.
No, it's not at all.
Not at all. By the way, I cook, right? Me and Noah, some nights I cook, some nights she cooks, some nights I clean the dishes, some night. That's not what I'm talking about.
No.
That's all fluff and bullshit. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm saying the energy and the dynamic between them.
Yes.
The energy between them
Yes.
is there's a nurturing feeling that Noah gives me
Yes.
as my fiance, wife, whatever you want to call her. That is a woman's energy.
Yes.
Okay. And when I feel I'm overworked and I went through too much, I lay in bed and she holds me like a woman nurturing energy. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And she lets me be the man too. And I've been in relationships where they didn't let me be the man. It won't work.
Yes. No,
And if it did
won't.
work, then there's something wrong with me and something wrong with you. And that's why we see what's going on in the world today, because we become weak. We're afraid of hurting feelings.
Yes.
I have no problem hurting feelings if it's true. I do my best not to hurt your feelings, but like, come on,
Yeah.
we can't keep going on this track. If we keep going on this track,
it's going to be
it's going to end
crazy
up
town.
in major destruction in the world.
Yes, no, I agree. And it's not even just like moods or emotion, right? It's literally chemically within our bodies, different things, different reactions happen when we do different things. For instance, a man has the energy like a rubber band. Like after you lay with a man, that man kind of needs to bounce away so he can bounce back because of what happens within the hormones of his body and the drop in testosterone. To go build up testosterone, that man needs to go in his man cave and be alone and rebuild his testosterone so he can bounce back to the relationship or woman in a good way.
Unless you're Dr. Ed Group.
And then you do
And
semen
then you do
retention.
the semen retention. I've tried that before. I succeeded for 3 months. It's very powerful.
Yeah, it is
takes a lot of
powerful.
discipline.
It is.
A lot of
very,
discipline.
very
That's
powerful.
the truth. But it's pretty awesome stuff because you get to the point of an orgasm.
Yeah, no, yeah, you still
But you're not
orgasm.
actually letting anything go.
Right.
You're using the energy, which is very strong energy.
Yes.
The amount of energy in that's actually coming out of you is like
Life force.
It's the potential of hundreds of millions of lives.
Life force.
It's
yes.
life force. So when you take that energy through those techniques, which I've learned to an extent, part of the reason why we're going to Tibet to understand these things even more, what he's doing, which he probably spoke to you about this, is bringing it back up and
Circulating
using
it
the energy
back.
to cultivate that, to
Yeah.
like use it as seeds within the body instead of
Yes,
seeds
it's
that fly out of the body.
yes.
And I could say, I was young when I tried it. I was think 22. I was reading this book called Cultivating Male Sexual Energy by Montauk Chia, the same teacher that Ed Group went to learn with in Thailand.
I love him.
And it's very real. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
I never had more energy,
Yeah.
but it takes discipline.
It
Because you
does.
got to be like, I'm not going to do that. It's like instant gratification versus the other side.
Yeah,
And the other side is
yeah.
more powerful. But
Yeah. Well, that's so important that you say that, because a lot of guys, they'll get triggered. Like, oh, well, that's not being a man. Actually, you're losing more man energy when you have your ejaculation. It's not that you don't get to orgasm. You can still orgasm. And
it's actually better.
Yes. The
I'm
orgasms
telling
are
you,
longer and stronger.
It took me a while to get to that point.
Yes.
But within those 3 months, I experienced that once.
Yes.
It's better than the other way.
Yes.
But I mean, back to men, right? Men think, maybe not everybody, but a lot of them think, well, I'm a man, I got to be macho and I got to do this and I got to be aggressive. No, you don't. No, you don't. You actually, I personally think the best proportion, because we all have masculine and feminine in us.
Yes.
You have masculine, feminine, I have masculine,
Yes.
feminine. But because I'm a man,
Yep.
then I think it needs to be like 60-40 on my
Yes,
side.
yes, I
and
agree.
you need to be 60-40 to the other side.
Right.
And then you have this balance.
Yes. Yes.
Right? But a man should not just be masculine, then you're going to have a
Yes.
big problem too. So we need to have those feminine sides, meaning like when I'm in business negotiations or business talks, how can I put myself, instead of coming like a bull,
Yes.
how can I put myself in the other person's shoes?
Yes.
How can I make them feel comfortable? How can I understand where they're coming from? How can I speak from that perspective and then have a conversation where I may not get 100% what I want, but no good deal ends that way.
Yeah.
A good deal is when both people walk 80% happy.
Yes.
Right? Everybody
Yes.
compromised a little bit.
Yes.
And the man won't let that happen.
Right.
The man is going to bull and create a war. That's not necessary.
Right.
What's necessary is then tapping into the feminine
Yeah.
and kind of balancing between both.
Yes, yes. Well, let me just ask you about this since we're in this subject. So in my eyes, right, over the past, I don't know, a couple hundred years, this planet has been ran by boys.
Yes.
And I'm not saying man, because a man in a divine masculine energetic being as a man, they wouldn't do what these boys have been doing around the planet. And I think it's because, and I might get some flack for this, but women, right? Our voices, our energy, our creativeness, everything has been suppressed. I mean, even in medical, we're crazy because we're emotional instead of honored for having our emotions, right? Which is really our superpower. So because our voices have been suppressed, the boys have risen, women are scared to really stand up and be the power behind the man, not behind the man, but you know what I'm saying? Like as the force behind like what is being built. So it's like our enablement of boy energy has taken the planet, and now you see this wars and famine and just fighting all over, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's the energy of women that we need to find our voices, find our power, find our creativity, not in a feministic way of like, it's our turn. No, softly, like rise in our softness and our connection with the divine and the spirit. And, in that beautiful, energetic way to then put our foot down and not mother these toxic little boys into these narcissistic, egotistical, crazy, psychopathic rulers. You know what I'm saying?
I think that women run the world,
Yeah.
even now. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Women, from where I come from, spiritually are stronger than men.
Yes.
They have more power. They have more strength.
Yes.
And in the world that we're living in now, let's go back for a second before I go down that rabbit hole or down that path. A lot of women say, well, men failed and they're doing all this. Women need to take over. No, that will lead to the same problem because there's still going to be an imbalance. And it's not this extreme, which we're at one right now, or this extreme. There
Right.
needs to be a balance between both.
Yeah.
Now, with that, when I say I believe that women are spiritually stronger and stronger than men and actually more elevated, look, I come from a Jewish background. In Judaism, and I'm not religious, but I'll give you a few things to kind of base this off of, which I think is beautiful. When men pray, you need 10 men to create something called a minyan. A minyan is a group of 10 men to pray. When women pray, you only need one. And the reason why is because the woman is so much stronger than the men. For men, you need 10 of them to achieve what the woman can do on her own.
Wow.
That means, amongst many other reasons, as a matter of fact, there's something that I published that was given to me based on the Kabbalah called The Power of the Woman. And it speaks all about the power of the woman and how powerful the woman is. But that goes to their benefit and the opposite.
Yeah.
Because if women run the world, because they are the ones that control men, then when they're not doing a good job in that, you can't blame it on the men either. The men are the stupid ones. We're the puppets. I'm telling you the truth. We're the puppets. But when you have a weak woman behind you, then you're going to take advantage of that as the man. Now, I'm not going to blame it on the woman, but I could show you a solution of how the woman can take that power back. Be a woman, not a girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And now, again, now the woman's going to say, but the men are boys. And then we're going to go back and forth all the time. But the woman is superior. The woman is stronger. She has more spiritual strength. She controls the man.
Yeah.
When you have a woman that's sleeping with 100 men.
Yeah.
When you have a woman that's disrespecting herself publicly.
Yeah.
When you have a woman that's doing things that there's a boy and a girl and a man and a woman and then a king and a queen. If you want a man, then you can't be a girl.
Yes.
If you want a king, then you can't just be a woman. You got to be a queen.
Yeah.
From the world that I come from, with the family that I come from, that's how we operate. The woman is really in charge. But to the front-facing reality, the man looks like he's in charge. But at the end of the day, the woman is like the neck for the man. The man cannot turn without the woman turning left or right. And that's the power that I think women need to take back. It doesn't mean women become the president of the United States.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's not what matters.
Yeah.
What matters is who is really influencing the president of the United States.
Right.
And it should be the first lady.
Yeah.
But when you have a weak woman, nobody gives it attention anymore.
Yeah.
So I think women, if we want to solve this issue, don't count on men for it because we're a bunch of morons. You need the women to step into it.
Yeah.
You need the women to take their power back.
Yes.
And that's why women don't chase men. Men chase women. That's never changed.
Right.
That's why I say women run the world.
Yes.
Because who's the one that says, will
Gotcha.
you marry me? The man does. And he goes under the woman on his knees to ask.
Yeah.
If I'm asking you, you are my superior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we still have that in some ways, but we've lost that in many ways. And you could say it's the man's fault, but I think it's the woman has the solution.
Gotcha.
And
Yes.
the solution is by becoming a woman again, respecting yourself, not sleeping with the man on the first date. You're going to have to work for it, my friend.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And doing it from a place of elegant respect.
Yes.
And not this other thing that like, oh no, you know, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes.
look, I'm speaking very black and white, obviously. I'm sure there's many other factors, but men are boys.
Yeah.
And men can be men. But for a true man
Yeah.
to really become an empowered man, he needs a woman, not a girl, and he needs a queen, not just a woman.
Yes.
And I think that's in the power of the women.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're saying the exact same thing in different ways that I said. I feel the same way, the exact same way. Stand up into our women power, you know, because then we can really not take back control, but help to facilitate a more peaceful dynamic on the planet. Because we are the nurturers. We are the man is the head of the family, but we're like the head, like the spiritual head of the family. Like we control the family dynamic.
Look, when you're married and you have a good relationship, let's say with your husband, and your husband wants to go to war on something, he's going to talk to you about it. And if he doesn't, then you failed in your dynamic as the woman to him.
Right.
The woman has at least in my experience in life, before I'm going to go and do something drastic one way or another, I'm going to talk to Noah and I'm going to talk to my mom.
Yep.
And I'm going to speak to them and say, what do you guys think? And I go to women specifically for that. I'm not going to go to men for that. I will go, but I'm not going to take them the man as the last word. Because I know the man is probably more oriented like me. Because naturally, we might want to be more aggressive.
Yes.
So as a man, I think it's important to go to the woman. But what if the man doesn't have a woman to speak to? Because the woman isn't the woman. She's just the girl that's just sitting there and saying yes to everything.
Right.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think women have control of men nowadays.
Right. Very
and
true.
I think that's a problem.
Yes, because there's a lot of girls that are enabling the behavior, not even enabling, but not being the woman for the man to come talk to.
And how do you expect them to if they come from parents that have that same dynamic? They're going to repeat that. So it's our job to break that chain and to break that pattern.
Yes.
And remind our kids, even if we've had our own trauma, to remind our kids what that union, that divine union, that sacred union, that true masculine feminine balance actually looks like.
Right.
And if we can do that for our own kids, what do you think our kids are going to do? The same thing.
Yeah.
For the better or the worse.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways to solve this. The question is, do we want to? Are we going to put in the effort to make that happen?
Yes, exactly. Well, I always look at life optimistically, and I know there's so much craziness happening. Tell me what you think before we get out of here about what is coming this year, Jason, because I know last year was snake energy, a lot of shedding. I mean, I shed my entire life and built a brand new one. And I think it's just kind of like a fractal of what we're experiencing this year. The dismantling of different systems and things that aren't working for the rebuild of the new. And
I think that's exactly what we're seeing. And I think 2025 and 2026, I mean, you're seeing what's happening with the Epstein list and all that. It's not even new.
No,
people,
it's not.
People like want more proof for something they already know.
I know, it's not new. This is what people, we've known this.
This has been going on for a while.
Yeah,
but anyways, I believe that we are going to continue seeing the residue in 2026 of 2025. You called it like the snake and the shedding of the skin and all that. I think you're going to see a lot of power structures start falling with simultaneously new, not power structures, but new ways of doing things increasing.
Yeah.
And that transition is not a comfortable one.
Right.
It's actually the people, there are two sides to this. There are the people that are falling, and then there are the people that are rising, or the movements that are rising.
Yeah.
But here's what most people don't talk about. It's not just this versus this. The people that are rising have to deal with the backlash of the people that are falling.
Yeah.
Okay? So the people that are rising, I believe, whether they were chosen for a specific person or whatever it is, what I'll leave everybody off with is, if you are one of those individuals that feel that you are now dealing with the backlash from the individual or company or entity or power structure that's falling.
Yeah.
Well, you are in the position that you're in because you could deal with it. Because you can handle it. No matter how hard it gets, and my life's gotten hard over the past year and a half, sometimes I always remind myself, and I'll remind everybody here, you were put in that position because you are the one that could handle it. Now the question is, are you going to do what it takes to handle it? And if you choose not to, you will take an opportunity and let it pass, and you're going to be miserable in the process. Or you can take that opportunity that's already coming your way, because you're going to have to go through it, and you can win.
Yeah.
And if you go through it with that mentality, if you're already going to go through something that's difficult, you might as well be happy while you're doing it, as opposed to being miserable while you're doing it. That's one of the greatest lessons that I've learned over the past year and a half. It made me a stronger person. It made me a more calculated person. And it made me a more compassionate person, because even the people in my situation, the other side of this, that will come and try and fight, and I have compassion for them. I don't look at them and hate them.
Right.
I don't look at them and say, wow, you're evil. I look at them and say, wow, you went through a lot in your life and you have a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And if I'm the individual that was invited here to help you explore or experience that, whatever that is, in karma and whatever it is, not even in a bad way, I'm also part of the situation. So there's also karma that I'm learning here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if we can learn to look at our enemies and not see them as our enemies, but see them as individuals that are going through hard times in life and struggles in life, and base all of their actions off of traumas in life, then I'll tell you, Elisabeth, I got to the point where I actually pray for those people.
Yes. Oh my God. So good, Jason. Because I that's how you know that you are in a different place. The people, the other side, can come attack you and just, lie on you and say just crazy things to try to ruin your name and brand and just everything you're doing. But you can literally sit there with all these attacks and just say, you know what? I pray for you. Like, I really pray for you, because that level of drama, and it can't even hit me. Like, it's like going like this at this point, it's just going like, there's no resistance here, because
it's just stupid. That's what at the end of the day, People, news cycles pass very fast.
Yes.
And what's today's news is tomorrow's history,
Right.
and people forget about it and you move on.
Yes.
On top of that, I know who I am.
Yeah.
I know my actions.
Thank you. Yes.
I know what they're saying or what somebody's saying when it's true and when
Yes.
it's not true.
Yes.
And I don't really care.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I did in the beginning because that's normal as a human being. But when you keep moving and you move forward with that strength and that love and that compassion, all that bullshit just falls away.
No, it just fizzles. It fizzles, and then it
And
doesn't
whoever
even...
keeps fighting in that, they actually bring themselves down and down and down and down. Because what are you doing in that energy?
And that energy, right?
make sense.
Like, for what?
Doesn't make sense.
I'm just going to be over here floating in my little fairyland.
But yeah,
Seriously.
look, we've all, you, me, many people watching this, we've all been blessed in many ways.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes when we grow fast, we're used to certain things that we forgot to appreciate and we took them for granted.
Yes.
We are blessed beyond belief.
Yes, we are.
The fact that we have clothes on our body.
Yeah.
The fact that we can wake up in the morning and breathe.
Yeah.
The fact that we have food on the table. The fact that we have the ability to love, the ability to think, the ability to remember. There are so many people that don't have those things.
right.
And those simple things in life are not to be taken for granted. So I wake up at this point every day. I'm grateful for the blessings that have been instilled within me that I can experience. I'm grateful for the blessings that everybody else can experience, and I want to do my best to continue sharing those blessings. But when we forget our blessings, when we forget the fact that we can wake up and smell the roses, we end up in this cycle of, it really is forgetfulness. And when you forget your blessings, then you can no longer share what you forget that you have. And when you don't share your blessings, they become a curse.
Yes.
And I won't let my blessings become a curse.
Yeah. That's phenomenal, Jason. You're just, man, just keep shining out here, because I want to go listen to this episode. Like, whoa, this was so good. Jason, what are you working on? Where can people find you? What are you up to?
So I'm traveling a lot, doing tons of events.
Yes.
On my website, I've really now kind of done my website to be a main spot to find everything. So instead of giving a bunch of links, I would just give my website, jasonshurka.com, super simple, super easy. And everything that I'm working on is there. All my events, all my tours. I'm actually going to South America next month to do a month-long tour in Central and South America, Mexico, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Peru, and Brazil.
Wow.
And then we're going to be going to Europe. Then we're going to be going to Africa. So a lot of cool things going on with events.
Nice.
A lot of projects that I like supporting, things like the light system technology.
Yes.
Unified Healing is where you can find centers all around the world. So all of those websites, all of my socials are on my website.
Awesome.
And that's just the simplest way to find it. So that's jasonshurka.com.
Awesome, Jason. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you back. And your mind is so unique, Jason, and you can see what so many people can't. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with the world and on my show. And yeah, we'll definitely have a part 3.
Awesome.
Let me get you back. All right.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, guys. That was another episode of Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson and Jason Shurka.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and don't necessarily reflect those of the producers or affiliates. We do not guarantee the accuracy of the content. Please verify information and seek professional advice when needed. By listening, you agree not to hold us liable for any actions taken based on this content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you enjoy the episodes ahead. Love unlimited, feel unlimited.
Before we wrap, if you're done living in loop mode, the addictions, the emotional swings, the stuck seasons, start with a tool that actually shifts your state. Go to unlimitedmeditationpack.com and download the free pack I created. It's 5 targeted meditations with theta entrainment frequencies that drop you into the zone where real subconscious reprogramming happens. These sessions calm your system, clear the old patterns, and open you up to better health, better connections, more clarity, and a life that finally moves. Start there. unlimitedmeditationpack.com.